I want to thank you all for coming today, and I would like to thank Cynthia and Carlos for putting on this panel. I do think it's really important that we get together and begin to talk about this and talk rationally about it. And I will just say right off the bat that my role today is to kind of offer the perspective of a decision maker and kind of faced with the implications of a vote, namely a yes vote on this measure in terms of the future process. So that's kind of the vantage point that I'm trying to address this afternoon. And I think this has some very, very serious implications for this city. And I have to say right up front that I'm extremely disappointed that Mr. Peebles chose to basically circumvent or end run the planning process by putting this to a vote at this stage of the procedure. And my reason for that is that once you decide to go for a vote before we have really any kind of information about traffic mitigation or environmental mitigation or have a development agreement or have an environmental review done, it puts us, the public, at a tremendous disadvantage. And it automatically creates essentially it creates a dispute. Whereas what would be ideal in a situation like this would be for us to begin to sit together, to begin to discuss, look at ideas, a process that he kind of initiated with the charrette idea, but then essentially that just goes down, that goes right out the window when you put something like this to a vote, because it's a contest. There's a win or there's a lose. And all of the negative things that are essentially inspired by that kind of process will come out in force. And there will be a legacy of this vote, positive or negative. There will be people who will be angry and upset, and it casts a shadow on the entire process, something that really could be positive. Some of the ideas, I personally am okay with limited development in the quarry. In fact, I think it would be good for the city. But not this way, not this way. What happens when Mr. Peebles gets his vote? I think you've heard today from a lot of the panelists a lot of the potential downsides. But I want to just, again, articulate, if I were a city council member or I were on the planning commission, and every time, at every step of the way, from the time that yes vote comes down, it's like the big club that's behind the back. You don't have to say a word. You're walking in with a public mandate, and you get advantages from that are very subtle but very profound. And I think that it really puts our public officials behind the eight ball, not only our elected officials, our appointed officials, but also our agency staff who have to essentially oversee and make sure that this project is working not just for us as a community, but for all the different kinds of jurisdictions, whether it's federal, state, or local. We put those people at a disadvantage when we empower the developer to have this kind of leverage right from the get-go. I really think it's a terrible idea, and I'm really sorry that Mr. Peebles chose to do this. And I really want to dispel, I think if you haven't gotten it yet, from the people here who are more knowledgeable than I, get it now. This was a choice. He didn't have to do this. This was not something that was necessary for him to do. It was a strategic decision that he made early on to take this approach. It's very much, I wonder about how much he can possibly respect our community by taking this approach right off the bat. I personally don't feel respected by this. I feel that it's really something that only can be an advantage for Mr. Peebles and his development proposal, and can't possibly be an advantage for the people of Pacifica. I believe that there's absolutely no reason why we should vote yes for this measure other than fear that he goes away, or a fear that nothing will ever happen at the quarry. Those fears, I can appreciate those fears. I too can empathize with people who like to see things done. But let's get something done, and done in the right way, so that when it comes to the people and we have a chance to vote on it, we know what's going on. I guess you may or may not know, but Leland Yee has come out in opposition to Measure L, a public official, for exactly the reason I'm saying. There's no development agreement, there's no environmental review. We have nothing to really base our view on other than a sort of a gossamer, you know, well, we have this wonderful image and vision of what might be, and we have this kind of big threat that if we don't go that way, what we might expect. This is not the way to do public process, and I'm very much, I have reluctantly gotten to the point where I'm against this measure. So that's what I have to say.